Hey, yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's the World Wide Web. Best words from the World Wide Web. So these are just videos that I put out there just to let you know what's going on this mind, what I'm learning, what I'd like to actually teach, future generations. So one of the topics that have really fascinated me throughout my journey has been the topic of the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, and this interest was triggered when I read a book called The Secret. Now, if you haven't read that book, I know a lot of people have read the book, but if you haven't read that book, I need you to go and read the book. So basically, the idea of the subconscious and the conscious mind stems from what you've been taught, what you've been coded, what you've been wired to know throughout your whole life. Basically, behaviors, paradigms, and everything that you literally were brought up with is taught behavior. Now, you would consider that as a multitude of habits that were passed down from generation to generation. Now, I'll tell you from my family, certain things that were said, "Mntanam akho mali," which was the situation, certain things, certain beliefs, and certain basically ways of life that we were taught growing up. And our parents were taught by their parents and so forth. So, some of us realize that we get to a point in life whereby you start questioning your life, like, okay, where am I in life? Like, I haven't reached where I haven't gotten to a point where I'm fulfilled, and I haven't gotten to a point where I can actually stretch myself and reach the you know the best of myself. And we ask ourselves, why is this? It is literally the subconscious and the conscious mind, the idea of taught behaviors, the behaviors that you now do, things that you now do, you got from your parents. Now, we get to a point, like I got to a point where, I had been working in retail for some years, and I got to a point where I thought to myself, wait a minute, is this what my life is going to be? Am I going to wake up every single day and go and clock on and clock off just to build somebody else's legacy? And this was because I was taught that the way that you should grow up is to go to school, get good grades, go to university, get a good job, and work for somebody. We were trained to be employees, right? So I sat there and I asked myself, why do I have to live this way? This is how my parents are living. And when I look at my parents, they're in debt. And I don't see myself living in debt. So I was like, something needs to change. And that's when I came across the idea of the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, and the fact that you are in a position to change it. You can change it. You can change the way that you think. You can change certain behaviors that will ultimately give you different results, because if you keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, you are only going to get the same results over and over and over again. So if there's certain things that you're going to say, certain mindsets that you're going to live by, like, okay, I can't do it, no, I can't. I mean, there's certain people that when you have million dollar conversations, and then they think to themselves that, how are you gonna make millions? No one here has made, who do you know has made millions? That's the subconscious mind that's speaking through them. It's not them. And sometimes people don't realize that it's actually happening. They don't realize that they do certain things because it has been rewired into their subconscious. And all it takes is for you to change it. All it takes is for you to actually realize. A very wise man once told me that there's two things that you need for success. Number one, you need to know where you are. And that's when what happened to me, when I realized that, look, I've been working in retail for almost going for 10 years now, working in retail. I realized that I am not where I wanted to be. So that's where you need to start. You need to look at where you are right now. Look, if you're in the best place possible, then my friend, I'm happy for you. But if you realize that you're not where you want to be, maybe it's because of things that you were taught. You need to start thinking differently. Start thinking differently about money, right? And start doing something about it. Now, that is the difference. It's not about what am I going to do about it. It's a lot of people, that's what stops a lot of people. Their subconscious mind automatically triggers the thought that, okay, how am I going to do it? That's not what you have to worry about. People have done things that were beyond them. People have climbed, the highest mountains in the world. People have achieved, feats that they could never imagine. And then everybody started doing it after they did it. So you never know what you could possibly do. But until you realize where you are, and number two, one of the other things that you need for to reach success is to know where you're going. Right? A lot of people don't know where they're going. And when I realized that I'm in retail, and I realized, okay, I'm here, but where am I really going? And a lot of people go around today not knowing where they're going, right? A lot of people don't know where they are. So if you don't know where you are and you don't know where you're going, that's a big problem. So that's what you need to do. You need to realize where you are and know where you're going. And if I can give you a piece of paper right now and ask you, what do you really want to do? Trust me, there are things that you can come up with. Trust me, there are things that you can come up with. I mean, a lot of us have, a lot of people are fortunate to have jobs, but I don't think that, I don't think that 80 or 90% of you guys want to do what you're doing, want to be there. And that's the one thing that you've always wanted to do with your life. And that's what you feel your purpose is. And that's the question that you need to ask. That's the question that you need to ask yourself. Those are the kind of questions you need to ask yourself from today. Where am I? Where am I going? What is my purpose? What do I really want to do? That is your purpose. What do you really want to do with your life? Who are you? Right? Now, if I can ask you right now, who are you? Or if I met you and I asked you, who are you? You'll say that I'm Wandile Webb. That's not who you are. That is your name. It's not who you are. Right? It's not who you are. So you need to literally tap into who you really are, find your purpose, know where you are, know where you're going, and ask yourself, who are you? And whose are you? So that you can know where you are going. And once you start realizing that, that's when you can actually move from there. That's when you can actually move towards reaching your full potential, because now you know who you are and whose you are. And I mean, we human beings, everybody in this world, we are human beings. And when you look deeper than that, we are spiritual beings in human form. So there are things that we can tap into. There's mental faculties that one Bob Proctor likes to speak about, such as your imagination. And I don't know the other six, but there's imagination, there's reason, there's so many mental faculties that you can tap into so that you can reach where you need to go. So I think I'm gonna break down these topics of the subconscious mind. That's just a little bit that I wanted to share to you today. And these are things that some people don't know, which is crazy. And these are things that some people do know, right? They do know the secret. They do know the magic. They do know the power that lies within you, but they never really go out there and do it, right? It's like going to people and asking them what is the definition of success, right? You get million different answers. So nobody really has the guideline, right? So that's the little nuggets that I wanted to share with you today. I want to be honest, I really didn't want to do this video. I really didn't want to do this video. I don't want to lie, but I just felt like, you know what? I made the commitment to myself, and I made the commitment publicly that I will drop something this week. So yeah, that's me just keeping to my promise. I hope you got value from this message. Let's start realizing that we need to change the thinking, bro. This is exactly what happened to me. I realized, right? I realized where I am, and I was working in retail, not happy at all. Then I realized that, okay, there is somewhere where I want to go, and where is that? And then I started writing it down. Okay, this is what I like to achieve. I started reading books, The Magic of Thinking Big, David Swartz. I started reading books that showed me that there's a lot more out there. I started realizing that, well, I can become a billionaire, right? Says who that I cannot, right? And I started having those kind of mindsets. And then I started realizing my purpose, which was to speak, which was to educate, which was to liberate. And as you go through my YouTube channel, you'll start to gauge a bit on what my purpose really is, which is to educate, like what I'm doing right now, which is to speak in front of people, doing public speeches rather, which is to do podcasts, educational podcasts, to tell stories, and all of that stuff, right? So I realized what my purpose is, and then I started realizing who I am. Now this is where it really switched on for me. I started realizing ukuthi andingowandile kodwa ndinguChezu uJalambo Bomvana. That's who I am. That is whose I am. That is the lineage that I come from, right? So basically I want you to tap into that today. Get to know whose you are, get to know who you are, so that you can know what your purpose is, so that you can know where you're going, so that you can get out of where you are right now. Right? So let's get it. It's the World Wide Web, words from the World Wide Web. We out.